Gearhead 327. As you can see, I got a couple projects going on right now, but what we're concerned with today is how I assemble these aluminum heads I got off of eBay. So let's get started. And the first thing you want to do, guys, is you want to tap out all of those holes, and the reason I say that is because I couldn't get these bolts in here. So it's going to be real inconvenient once you have this thing mounted and you have it in the car, and then you try to put the accessories on, or you try to hook up the headers or whatever, and you have to tap it in place. So go ahead and do that now. The next thing I'm doing is you can see my really fancy porting tool right here. Now this is a kit I got from Summit. That's the number on it. And I guess I could have got some carbide cutters, which I've got a carbide cutter around here somewhere. I can't find it, but I didn't want to go hog wild, literally, and hog these things out too much, because then you change the flow characteristics, and I don't have a flow bench at this time. So, but anyway, guys, you can feel like, I don't know if you can see that right there or not, but there's like a little teeny ridge right there, and you can feel it with your finger, and all of these are actually feeling pretty good. So anyway, I just went in there and just kind of knocked everything down that was like a ridge. So I figured that would I don't know, cause some type of problem, less horsepower, whatever. But let me get at this one a little bit right here, show you what I'm doing. Alright, we'll see if we can do this. And going to be careful, guys. Of course, you don't want to nick the seat right there. It's going to cause you some problems. Now, I do have a way to correct that, but and that has knocked it down. Let's look at this other one over here. See if we can get that one. I've already done some work to it. Just needs a little bit more. Okay, this is what I'm doing. It would be nice to have a carbide cutter, but like I said, I don't want to go crazy on these. Maybe if I got some old crappy heads, I might experiment on that, but these, no. Alright, after you've you know, got it where you don't feel any of those ridges in there, I would just blow it out. Alright, guys, that's probably good enough. Now I'm also going to take some brake clean and clean that out. I need to get something under here because I don't want to get that brake clean all over my other stuff that's down here. Room is at a premium. So let's get that cleaned off. And I bought a few things from Woodward. I'll leave a link down there, but they didn't have any blue, but they had this red. And I got some 600 grit, and I got some 400 grit. And I have one of these ubiquitous things you see on YouTube whenever it comes time to do valve jobs. Now, guys, if you're going to use a cordless drill, you know, which I got nothing against that. If you want to lap the valves in, I probably wouldn't do it on a new set of heads like this. Okay, I do these by hand. You know, if you have some extremely worn heads and, you know, they're already worn out, I mean, what do you got to lose? But on these, I put some of this red marking dye around there, and I use the 600, the finer grade of this stuff right here, and put that around there too. And I mark the valve with red dye, and you can see I got pretty good coverage there. So need to lubricate this a little bit here. I cleaned it off. I want to put it in there dry. You just want to make sure you don't get any of that lapping compound down in there in the valve guides. And that goes in there like that. And at first they wouldn't spin. You had to pull them out a little bit. Pull them up. Anyway guys, it didn't take very much to clean them up. Like I said, if you stick them in there, I did it just with the layout fluid, they are not perfect. They need to be lapped. So, as you can see, it puts that perfect seal on there. We're going to clean this off. Get that clean. You don't want, like I said, you don't want to get any of that grinding stuff on the guide part of it. And then what I've got here, guys, is just an old gasket box, and I've put these valves in here in the order that I took them out. Now I tried originally a piece of wood, but I kept getting sawdust in here where I drilled the holes out, so cardboard, I guess, is going to be your friend. So and get that cleaned off a little bit better. But so edit some of this out here. Okay, but you can see cleaned off how the mating surface is right there. So it mated to it perfectly. And if you look at, let's take this off and look in here, you can see how that all the way around did a pretty good job of mating it to it. So that's what you're looking for, guys. You know, now like I said, if they're off or you have some valves that just you know, aren't lapping, then you may have to go with a more aggressive compound, so, or a more aggressive grit. That's why I got 400, 600. It wasn't that expensive. So anyway, this head just needs to be cleaned up. I need to clean this stuff out of here, and I already wiped most of the grit out, but I want to get it all out, and then we can put the valves back and lube them, put the valves back in there, and then we can see about doing the rest of the cylinder head. I also want to say, guys, if you're going to buy some of these heads right here and you're just going to throw those valves in there and hope everything works out, you're not going to be getting the optimum performance that you want. Okay, there's probably going to be some valve leakage. Of course, you can get that with fully assembled heads from some people too, but it's best to check it out yourself. Now guys, I bought all these parts right here, and those are some shims. I've got 30 60 thousandths, more 60 thousandths, some 15ths. I've got some seat cutters, but that's, I don't need that on these right here. These were already cut. I got one of these heads completed here already, and these springs installed at 1.75 to get the, what their rating is. They say install them at that height. You can't just put the springs in there and then just go for it, because you're not going to get the spring pressures that you want. Now this is a relatively mild hydraulic cam that's going in here, flat tappet hydraulic cam. If I was using a roller cam, I would use some different type of springs over here, but these are for flat tappets. But anyway, I got two 60,000 shims in here, and you see, guys, the mistake I made, which I'm glad I showed that to you. See how it says this side up, so they've got to go down like that. You put a locator in there, and I've already done those. This one, if you can see, it's exactly 1.750, and I had to use two 60s and a 30, so get the 1.75 installed height, and that's what we're going through here. And let me just show you this little giddy up right here. Okay, these springs are supposed to have about 120 pounds of seat pressure at the installed height of 1 3/4 inches, or 1.75. So I've got that on my caliper here, and it looks to me like we're right there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that is right on the money. And these springs are not as stiff as they claim, because we got right at about 100, which actually that works for me, guys, especially for breaking in a flat tappet cam. Okay, these are just run-of-the-mill Z28 springs, and this little thing right here makes it very handy to check this stuff. And like I said, you don't want to just throw that in there, because this stuff may be way off or you got the wrong ones. Anyway, I'm going to leave that spring in there for break-in, and we'll see how it does. But like I said, this is the installed height. Now some of them might be 1.8. You get a different type of spring. And this, like I said, this is a must. You can't, don't just throw your heads together. I also recommend, guys, when you play around with springs, you know, put some type of protection on. So I'm doubly protected here. But anyway, we can let this loose here. Alright, guys, we're going to put the springs in here. Now, you also need to remember that the valve seals need to go in there too before you do this. I made a valve spring compressor similar to what you can buy one from Comp Cams, but you know, theirs is $150. This one didn't cost me anything. But I didn't do a video on it because the last video I did on my valve spring compressor, nobody was really interested. But this one works really well. And I almost made a mistake here, guys, and put those valve springs on there without putting these on there. That would be, well, I have to come back and redo it. Yeah, I guess it's a little overkill here. What was that? And you can hear it. It'll make a sound when it's down there as far as it's going to go. It's a different little pitch to it. Alright, I want to show you my mistakes so that you don't make them. But you see right there, guys, I didn't push those things back up under there like I'm supposed to. So I need to let this thing off and center those shims. So let's let this off and let's get that done. One of these are adjustable. I'll come back later and put Loctite on them, but I'm not going to do it right now because I might have to adjust these when I put the push rods in. And I've already got the valve in, it's already lubricated. Alright, I need this seat right here. If you don't put that on for aluminum heads, you're going to have problems. It's going to dig into the aluminum. I've got this at an angle because the valve has a tendency to want to fall out of here. We're going to put this on here, and then I've got some keepers. And we'll adjust that. Alright, and alright, if you can see that, we're at almost 100, excuse me, 1.9. We're almost there. It's 1.880, and the installed height of these springs, according to the manufacturer, needs to be 1.75. So we have 1.880, and we minus that by 1.75, and we need to get the appropriate shims here and put those in there, which I have several varieties, 30 thousandths, 60 thousandths, and 15 thousandths. So let's put some shims in there and see if we can get that thing to say 1.75. Alright, let's take this off of here, and if we subtract 1.880, well, if we subtract 1.75, the correct installed height for these springs that I'm using, then we get, ooh, I hate when that happens. Alright, if we do the math, and we subtract 1.75, the correct installed height for the spring, from 1.880, we get about 0.13, so 130 thousandths. So these are 60 thousandths each, and you want this side up, like it says. It even says this side up so they can idiot proof it. And you can put that there, and then this is a 15 thousandths. Now if we add that up, that gives me 135, not 130. So, and if you forget to put this on, you get some really disturbing problems coming up. Alright, if we look at that, we can see we're at 1.7, and we need to be at 1.75, but there's no way for me to adjust that rather than grinding down some of these shims or buying a 5,000 shim. But what I'm going to do is that's going to be close enough. So that's where we're going to install that one at. We're just going to leave those shims in place. We're going to move over here to the next one. And I want to say for the next one, guys, I've already done several of these, and they're about 120 thousandths off. So we're just going to put 2 shims under here from the get-go, and we'll see what kind of installed height that gives us. Alright, I've already got 2 60 thousandths shims in there, as you see, this side up. So that's 120 thousandths. We'll just borrow this locator here. We'll put that on there. We'll do the same thing. Alright guys, as we can see, we are dead on the money. 1.750 with just two shims, and we didn't have to take it off, measure it, subtract it, do all that. You know, you're close enough at that point. That one ended up perfect. Alright, we can see we're at 1.755, so we're only 5 thousandths off. We're going to call that good. If I had a 5,000th shim, I would put that in there, but I don't have one, so that's for government work. That's going to be good enough. homemade valve spring compressor. Line those up the best we can. And always take the safest course of action here, guys. And there we go. All right, got them all good to go right there. Just take this off. That's wrong side. Yeah, that's right side wrench. And there we go. A completed Chinesium aluminum head. And guys, when you do it yourself, you know you did it right, or you're not relying on someone else to, make the mistake. Alright, well there we go. That's an assembled Chinesium head. The other one's already been done. Alright, well, we got them done, and we have the correct installed height, and we've got the pressure a little bit over 100. And again, I want to say, guys, this is for a flat tappet cam. If you were to put these springs on a roller cam, you'd probably have some problems. Let's turn this over. So I guess what I need to do is fill these up with some type of liquid and see if they drain out. So you can see this oil is drained out, but I had the valve pulled down. So we're going to clean that up, and let's see if they leak. Alright, well, let's pour a little mineral spirits down there. Now, You can do this with the heads bolted on, and you can put some air in there, and you can pour fluid in there and see if they bubble past there. But then if you have to, you know, relap the valves and stuff, it makes it a little difficult if it's already bolted on the engine. So let's pour a little in there and see if we get any leakage. Well, so far so good. Alright, let's fill up these other two here. Alright, well, offhand, guys, I'd say that whatever we did, working. I don't see any leakage there, because it would be running out. That's assembly lube. All right. All right. Well, I don't see anything running out of them there. Let's see, we got it filled up. So I think for a homebrew cylinder head job, I think they turned out pretty good. Of course, the real test is going to be to bolt them on the engine and, you know, run up and down the drag strip a couple times, or, you know, do some heavy towing with this, whatever this engine is going to be doing. All right, we'll see if we can recover this stuff out of the intake, and we can put that in the exhaust and reuse it instead of just wasting it. Alright, you're successful on that. Alright, let's try the exhaust. Of course, the exhaust is turned around the wrong way. Let's get that turned around so we can see it. Alright, let's alright, there's some drippage, guys, you can see, but it's coming out of the back. What we're looking for are these chambers right here. So let's pour a little in here. Alright, let's take a closer look at that. Alright, well, I don't see anything coming out of the exhaust valves. So, alright guys, we're going to call this a wrap and a win. So we got some home-brewed cylinder heads here, cylinder head work. These were the parts that I used, so I'll just go through it real quick, but those were the intake valves. That's the guide plates. You can see the numbers down there. That was the number for the exhaust valves. And this is the lapping compound that I used. I used some 600 and some 400. The stuff at the auto parts store would probably work. Those are the rocker arm studs. Those are the locks. And those were the springs that I used, and that was the retainers that I used. And these were the seals. You can see the numbers on those, and those were the seats. And of course, you're going to need some shims too, guys. And this is a must. You've got to have one of these. And this, I was able to measure all the springs and make sure they were all pretty much equal. So